just about to go live for you on in just a moment. We are here. Peter's here.
Hello.
We're back in a second. We are here. This is Andy B and Peter on the Get Your Home show, only on Pure247 Radio. Peter's on the camera, I'm on the camera, and we're on the radio as well.
Yes, we are. Multitasking, we are.
Well, I'm not. The computer is.
That's a good point.
Although technically there's two computers both doing different jobs. So is that multitasking if it's two devices doing things separately?
Technically, I'd say that classes as multitasking.
You reckon?
I think so, yeah.
Why?
Well, because you're technically handling two computers. I mean, you may be able to leave one for a while, but technically you're doing two things at once.
Four computers, just saying.
So it's like double multitasking.
I got four computers, a hot chocolate, and you. So I think that's enough for most people.
Wow, a lot going on for you then.
There's quite a lot going on. How are you doing today, Peter? It's quite warm out there, isn't it? Have you got a fan on for yourself?
I haven't actually.
Do you want to move that fan over towards you and stick it on?
Okay. Yes, I will do that.
Right, I'll just go to me for a moment. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Right, so Peter's just going to get himself a little bit of a fan. Is that on? There we go. It's quite warm in the studio, and we've just shut the curtains and switched on the studio lights. So, we do sacrifice comfort of being cool when we talk to you. Are you back now?
Yes, I am back.
There we go. Right. I just realised there's rubbish on the floor behind you. That's not rubbish, though, is it? No, that's our banners.
Yes, it is.
Why do they live down there now?
Well,
aren't they supposed to be stood up behind all this lot?
Yes, but we seem to be running out of space there, and I was worried about too much stuff leaning against each other.
So behind me right now, you can see a banner, that side, there, and then on this side, you can see there's an orange thing. That's just a wall that we've created in the studio, and behind that is storage.
Yes,
it's not very exciting, but it's what you do. But anyway, that's getting a bit full of stuff, which is great because we're growing.
Which makes it actually quite an exciting storage. Plus, actually, what we're storing behind there is quite exciting if you think about it, or most of it.
Yes.
Apart from pens, which aren't that exciting in the
they're less exciting.
Unless it's like a gold pen or something like that. That would be very exciting. But
a solid gold pen, we could sell that.
Yes.
I'd be okay with selling that. That would be okay with me. Right now, we are... Why is that saying waiting? It's not waiting. It was working a second. There we are. That's better. Yeah, we're basically asking you what you're thankful for today because it's really important.
Yes.
We'll work through things that we're thankful for, which we do normally, and then new studies or news stories, if you've got them. And I don't know what you have.
I have got some new studies. I'll tell you that. I have got some new studies.
You have got some?
Yes.
Well, that's always an advantage. So that's what we do. I quite enjoy these live streams. We used to do some food stuff, like Taste the Difference. Thank you, Andy Brown, for that suggestion. We've developed that and enhanced it. And now we have a time when we basically sit here and we say things we're thankful for, which is really important.
Yes, it is.
It is. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you need to be saying thankful things.
It is very important. Plus, it's probably good for you mentally to look at things to be grateful for.
Didn't we recently read something about the power of being thankful? Didn't we hear something or read something?
Might have done. I can't
sort of come into mind, but I can't remember. I'm sure it's something along the lines of being thankful is good for your mental health.
That's
something like that, but I can't remember what the study was, so I can't state that.
I would guess anyway. Either way, though, it's good for you.
I've just thought of a question for Dr. Richard Scott.
Oh yes.
I'm going to email hello@pure247radio.org. That's our email address. And I'm going to say question for Dr. Richard Scott, not a GP anymore.
Okay.
Because he stopped being a GP next week. So by the time I actually get to speak to him, it'll be his last day. It's a question for Dr. Richard Scott, not a GP. Does being thankful improve our mental health? Andy B, while live on the radio.
Yes, this is live radio. Sending an email. See, definitely multitasking there, actually.
That's multitasking.
That is multitasking.
I was looking at multitasking because it's not a male. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, women can multitask and men can't. Absolute rubbish. If you've got children and you are responsible for them, you learn to multitask. Men can multitask. Women can multitask. Have you ever driven a crane mounted onto the back of a lorry? 7 levers. how much is going on there when you're operating 7 levers. You're looking for where you're trying to put the load without killing anybody. You're watching out for children who are trying to dive under the load, even though they're not allowed to. Builders who seem to think your 10-foot reach is 3,000 million feet long. You're looking for all these different things.
Yes,
So everybody multitasks. But when you have children, you multitask. Why? So you want to have some food. You've got a baby. It's in your arm. You have some food. You have a drink. What are you going to do?
Suppose you have to
You're
do a
not
bit
putting
of
the
both.
child down to have a drink. You're going to have the child in your arm and have a drink.
Yes.
Can't see that on that camera, can you? Shall I do that again? I didn't tell you about. Yes, if you've got a child, there you go. Child here. There you are. Remote control with the child. It's a
Okay.
bit small. But, if you want to have food, how are you going to do it? You're going to eat. Multitasking. It's called parenting.
Yes, although I'm sure I've heard somewhere that multitasking is just going from one thought very quickly to the other. Is that kind of it?
Well, I'm not sure.
That's something to ask for Dr. Scott again. Is
Well, no,
multitasking-
because that's more like an existential question. Is multitasking something that's not a Richard Scott question?
okay.
I don't think so.
Although technically we are always multitasking because your brain is telling your heart to beat, and you could also be at the same time talking. So technically you're always multitasking, whatever you do.
Now, Andy Brown's just messaged to say that the microphones are making a weird echoey thing.
Oh, that's not.
So
good.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to some music, Alani Morissette. We'll go to that. I'll reboot the sound dingy on this computer, and we'll be back shortly.
Yes.
So I'm going to, for now, if you're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, don't go away. We'll come back. Hopefully, we've still got a microphone. Hey, there you are. We're back. So, we have got about 30 seconds of this song, and we'll come back to you guys. Sorry about that. Not our fault.
No.
I don't know what that's about. It happens. It's a Windows 10, a Windows 11 issue. It does it randomly on different computers, operating systems.
Nothing's perfect.
I'm sure somebody somewhere at Microsoft thought it was a great idea to fix something, but it doesn't necessarily always work out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Back in a second. Okay, after a slight, unanticipated, necessary pause, we are back.
Yes.
Which is always good.
That is always very good.
I'm just checking a couple of things
Okay.
as I multitask.
See, a lot of multitasking this time. Although mainly Andy B doing the multitasking. I just have to sit here and talk and drink hot chocolate. So technically, actually, we're both multitasking because I have to drink hot chocolate and do talking. Although I don't do the two things at the same time because that wouldn't work really. But yes, kind of semi-multitasking. Perhaps not quite like that. But by the way, it is Thankful Thursday, but on a Friday.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
right.
just checking lots of little things going on.
Yeah, that is important. Multitasking again. This is what it's like doing live radio and stuff. Do we want to move on to thank yous in a moment?
I think being thankful is a good thing. How do we finish? I don't know that we did about being multitasking.
I don't know.
Because it used to get really irritating when we would say, well, only women can multitask. Of course they can. And it used to annoy me because it's rubbish.
Because you're multitasking right now.
People, human beings, multitask.
Mm.
You ever tried eating?
Yeah, yes.
And what happens when you eat?
I suppose I'm using my knife and my fork.
You're sitting upright, you're maintaining your gravity, your composure, you're listening to the people around you. You have a fork and a knife or a spoon, depending which part of the meal, maybe a drink. You're eating your food, you're chewing, you're savouring the food, you're making sure that you can taste what's going on in your mouth whilst looking at what you're doing with your next mouthful, and you're watching and you're not falling over. And that's multitasking.
Yeah, technically it is.
So multitasking is just a human condition, people.
Yes.
Anybody tells you anything else, they're wrong, basically. And talking nonsense is the PG version.
Yes.
Right. Now, Peter, things we are thankful for. Should we move into that?
Yes, although before we get into that, in preparation, because I know we always get into mathematics, I brought a calculator.
Now, I saw you bring that, and I was genuinely perplexed. I thought, is he trying to calculate the number of tangents he takes us onto because he can't count that high? Is there some weird mathematical thing he's doing? I have a calculator next to my desk because I do lots of graphics work, and sometimes a calculator is just quicker to work out sizes of things and percentages and ratios. So I have a little calculator, which sounds like I'm really clever. That's why I use a calculator, because I'm really not. But yeah, that's why I have a calculator. So I was a little bit perplexed.
Yes,
Pleased, surprised, bothered, concerned, worried, anxious.
I brought the calculator more as a backup in case we get onto mathematics, because we've seemed to struggle with mathematics on the Get You Home show. So I figured I'd bring a calculator.
But when did we do maths last?
Last week and the week before.
That was Dan Rouse's fault. Dan Rouse, Community Dan, he got us off on a tangent on maths, was it not?
I think so. We've got onto loads of you've got us onto loads of tangents, but one of those tangents that we have both got onto together at the same time is mathematics, and so I figured I'd bring a calculator just in case.
Yep, which is fine.
Although, actually, about this calculator, I mean, it's not like I've used it loads of times, but I've never changed the batteries since I got it, and that was a good many years ago.
I've got a calculator. I remember it cost me less than 50p from a supermarket, probably older than you by quite a while. It was just a spare calculator. I had to chuck it in a drawer. And when it finally died, I was quite upset. So I thought, because, you know, I'm not a wasteful man, let's change the battery. And my wife said, wouldn't it be cheaper to buy a new calculator that has a fresh battery in it? I said, yeah, probably. But I like my little blue calculator. It sits on my desk, under my little phone holder, next to where my my little Transformers toy goes. And I was like, well, that's where it goes. And well, just buy a new one. It's like 15, 20 years old. You paid less than 50 pence for it. You can't buy a halfpenny sweet anymore for less than 50p. Just bin it and buy a new one. Yeah, but I really like it. But the buttons are loose. Yeah, but I really like the way the buttons work. So I got a battery which cost me £4.
So it cost you 50. Isn't that sort of the problem when you buy a car, something goes wrong with it, and if you start to pay more money to repair it than when you bought it, it's normally time to get rid of the car.
To a degree.
So
I would agree with that to a point.
yeah, I suppose although technically you could spend twice as much money on repairing a car over the period of time of owning a car. So yeah. But yes, we've got a backup calculator, which I think it's based off some kind of suite, actually. This calculator is quite basic, but I've got it ready in case we got to
Mine
mathematics.
is much more basic. It is a basic rectangle.
Yes.
It hasn't got solar powered anything. It's just literally a button holding device
Yes.
for simple mathematics, which I really, really like. There's a calculator on the computer. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to pick up a thing and it'll work.
But sometimes, though, like with a computer, you've got loads of tabs open, and to then open up a calculator as well.
Yeah, but
It
here's the
gets
thing.
complicated.
I'm going to open a calculator now. On my keyboard, it opens up a calculator. Normally, right, when I open my calculator downstairs on my computer, I can't get the calculator to appear. It always hides behind everything, no matter what I tell it to do. And whereas this computer, which has identical settings, it appears at the front. There's no
see.
reason it just doesn't make any sense. Same operating system. I've set it up exactly the same. I've got the same settings and options for where it's supposed to appear. Makes no difference. This one always appears on the front. The other one appears at the back of everything.
See,
I think it's shamed. It must be shame. Filled with shame that digital calculator on his computer. My computer downstairs.
well, you've got a special computer. Let's go with that, perhaps. Do we want to go on to thank yous then?
Yes.
Mathematic free, perhaps.
I'm very happy with maths free
Yes.
because maths and me, we're not really good friends.
I wonder if there's an equation that you can mix maths.
I asked Stephen D, operations manager, just to check some maths I did. Really basic. How much is this over so many months? And then what's a percentage off that one? Okay, really, really basic. I said, can I just check that what I've written down is correct? Because obviously it's really simple, but hey, let's get this right. Can you just verify it? He looked through and he said, no, that can't be right. And then we looked at the calculator and it was correct. So even using a calculator doesn't guarantee success.
Yeah.
That's when you need somebody else's eyes.
Well, sometimes that is important, just two sets of eyes. Because if you've been doing something on yourself by yourself, you may not notice those mistakes, but someone else might.
It's
might,
true.
Yeah. Although sometimes you don't want someone else because they'll point out lots of the mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, which is annoying. But yeah, that is something to be thankful for. If you've got someone who can help you, can help point out your mistakes so you can fix them.
Yeah, and when it comes to really important stuff, we always have two people on site to have a look at something. Because if it's really, really important, I don't know, a reference number for something or there's anything, application for a driving license, can we just make sure we've got all the right letters and digits in the right places?
Yeah.
Or if you're paying something, it's not so bad when you're paying for something on a debit card, because if you get the wrong number, it'll just say that doesn't work, and it'll give you the chance to retype it in again. If you're setting up something like a direct debit or something, you want to get it right. Otherwise, the people who you just bought that thing from are going to be saying your bank hasn't got any money. No, it has. I just got the wrong numbers. Sorry about that, but it happens.
Yep.
Anyway, things we're thankful for.
Okay.
Other people's eyes when you're tired. I was just going to jump straight in there.
Okay. Other people's eyes when you're tired.
Yes. Well, they can find the mistakes you've missed.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to be thankful
Like, for example, when Nathan and I were editing the magazine, and because we do all the graphics side of it all, if there are ever any like typos, which we're very good at spotting, it's very hard to find the typos when you're trying to check for graphics, because you tend to sort of forget about the commas and the exclamation marks in the wrong place or the wrong font, and you're trying to think, well, that box is in the wrong place and it's 3 pixels out, and we can see it. So it's like, what's wrong? And then you try and fix it. So we have other people's eyes.
Yes. That is a good thing to be thankful for. I think actually, because I brought my calculator in, my old little calculator, I'd say actually I'm thankful for that, and thankful that I've never had to change the battery since I got it.
Yes. Well, I'm. This isn't my next thankful thing. I'm just grateful that I could replace the battery in mine, because you can't always replace the battery, can you?
Yeah. Well,
Not everything lets you do it. Cars, yes. Watches, well, yes. If you're clear that you might break it in the process and it's not overly valuable, you can replace the battery at home. I've done that on many watches, because I took a watch one time to the watch battery replacement people. I can't think what they're called. Like, not the company, like
Clocksmith.
Is it cobblers? Normally you go to a shoe shop, don't you? Like a cobbler. That's what they're called. And they usually do like watches. There's loads of them on the high street, loads of independents, and then some big chains. And so one time I took for a watch battery. Well, it's broken. Well, are you going to replace it? Not my fault. Right, but what happened? It's broken. So that was one of those where you just think, that's like 200 quid's worth of watch in the bin because you broke it, because it's going to cost me 500 quid to get it fixed. So yeah, there are limits. So now I don't mind having a go. If you're going to go swimming, I wouldn't necessarily advise you do it at home.
Yeah,
if it's a precious watch. However, if it's just a watch to wear normally, then the worst you can do is break it. And if it's not precious, then what's the biggie?
Yeah, that is a good point.
Dan Bellamy's got in touch. Hi, Andy. I'm happy for the love and support during and after the gathering from old and new friends last weekend due to health issues. Well, I'm glad you had a good time at the gathering, Dan. We couldn't make you there this year. We were looking forward to it, but that didn't work out. So it was great to see photos and stuff and people having a good time. Some of our friends were there having a really, really good time. I know that Kingdom Prince, very own Andy Hallam and his son Richard, they were there with Kingdom Marketplace for the first time. So they were having a good time too. So yeah, I've had lots of good reports. It was apparently really, really good. And we didn't get to go there. But hey, sometimes dates don't match up, do they? So yeah, I'm glad, Dan, you got some love and support there, which is great. Andy Brown did go.
Oh, yes, that's true.
I didn't actually get to talk to him about what he thought on air. We should have done a little interview, like a follow-up.
Oh, yeah.
Could have done that one. Anyway, in the past now. So, yes. Oh, I'm thankful for Andy Brown.
Okay.
Yesterday evening was Andy Brown's birthday and also his 90th 90s Tunes radio show.
Yes.
I think it was most unfair of him, however, not to make it so that it was his 90th birthday on the 90th show of 90s Tunes. I mean, that was really poor planning.
That wouldn't be very easy to do because you'd have to do just 2 a year,
Where's
basically.
the effort?
Like that.
People don't put effort in anymore, honestly.
But then we wouldn't have a 90s tune every Thursday, though.
Well, there's that.
That is one thing.
Andy Brown actually has just said, if you need to outsource your mathematics my way, you're always very welcome. I think people would like that, Andy.
Yes.
I have a Stephen who's very useful, but yes, I think sometimes. So when I was at school, I did my GCSEs, which if you're listening globally, GCSEs are kind of 14 to 16-ish. And then you have your A-levels, which is kind of 16 to 18-ish. And then you might go off to university. So I was doing my GCSE level mathematics, normally you're 15, 16. I was doing that when I was 18. Basically trying to finish school. I was nearly 18 and I'd failed my mathematics twice, 2 years running. Just didn't get a good grade. I don't like maths. I don't do well at maths. So it took me 3 attempts, but I got there in the end.
Yes.
Determination, you see.
Like British Railways, isn't it? They'll get
Got
there
to
in the
keep
end.
going.
Although the leaves might stop them at first, but they'll get
Yes,
there.
but they are genuinely different leaves. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know the
You know,
leaves actually
leaves
do
will
it.
stop them working. And apparently some people in Germany says, oh, stupid engineering. Of course it's the same. It's just a leaf. A leaf can't stop a 3,000-ton train. And then they tried to do some experiments and they said, yeah, British leaves are really hard. They don't compress like leaves on the mainland of Europe. So, yeah, the leaves on the line is actually a major problem because they get in between the points. And when the points try and move and squish and whatever, the leaves are like, no, I'm hard, go away. And it stops the points working.
Oh, right.
So some German engineers said, yeah, rubbish. It's just bad engineering. And they come along and realise the truth of the fact that British trees have British leaves and the British leaves are hard. They're not like European ones that are soft.
Yeah, we've got proper leaves.
Who knew that? Here's a little one for you. So I've forgotten which train it was. It was a high-speed train. Was it the Intercity 125 or something like that? It was one of the trains a long time ago. And they wanted to make sure, sensibly, that if a bird hit the front of the train, that it would not cause any problems. Okay. So what they did, they got this special air cannon thing that could fire things at various speeds. And they thought, well, this train, 125 miles an hour, a bird could travel at, 20 or 30 miles an hour, which gives you a closing speed of maybe 160 to 170 miles an hour. But we'll start out slowly. 100 miles an hour, that'll do. And we'll build ourselves up, something like that. So they got the chicken, or turkey, they stuck it in an air cannon and they fired it at the front of the train. Now, this is just a test, it's not for real. And the chicken, or turkey, went all the way through the protective, bulletproof glass, went through there, and it was lodged halfway through the engine, destroyed the engine. It kept on going into the engine compartment, through engine bits and pieces halfway through. And the engineers started to get just a little bit panicked of, This is supposed to stop anything at like 100 and 200 miles an hour. We're only at like half that speed. How has that little soft floppy chicken thing gone all the way through the glass, the bulkhead? It's gone into the engine, through the engine components, halfway down the engine compartment. That's where we found it. What happened? Major panic of, we've just made all these advancements. What's gone wrong? And they started to investigate it. And do you know what they realised? They used a frozen turkey.
I remember that, actually.
Now, generally speaking, turkeys don't fly to 180 miles an hour.
Whilst frozen.
Not whilst frozen. So, yes, they discovered that before you actually enact a test, you might want to make sure the parameters are correct. And a frozen 20-pound bird is going to make quite a lot of damage if fired at 180 miles an hour into the front of a train. That's a bit of an extreme situation that isn't usually going to happen much on the British railways.
Probably not. I don't
As was. I love that story.
Although,
Do you want another train story?
sure.
Because then we can say we're not on a tangent because we've actually followed the link. So here's another train story. It goes back to many years ago. So when they had steam powered trains, coal powered trains, obviously they weren't very, very, technologically advanced when the first diesels came out. Everyone thought they're a bit old, they're a bit past it. We've got modern trains now. I know the person that told me this story, so this is not made up. The person who witnessed this told me many years ago. So they had a diesel train and they were trying to get it to move along the tracks and they couldn't get it to move because it was really, really cold, really, really icy. And all that happened was the wheels were just spinning and spinning. The steam loco just, disappeared down the track. And the driver was getting really cross. This is revolutionary. This diesel train, it's better than the steam train. Why can't you make it move? And one of the older drivers, who this new driver had basically said, yeah, he's like a relic. He's like a dinosaur. He doesn't know anything. He said, can I help you? And he came along with a shovel full of some grit. And what they did was get the shovel with some grit and stick it on the rails in front of the wheels. And all of a sudden, the diesel loco started to get a little bit of traction and started to move. And the guy said, how did you know that? He says, well, we just learned. When you weren't born, we learned how to make trains move when it was cold. And we have special boxes that open above the wheels. And when it's really icy and there's no traction, we pull a little chain and the grit falls down onto the wheels, onto the tracks, and then the train moves. And this guy with this revolutionary brand new system of diesel locomotive trains is looking at his stranded brand new train, this archaic old-fashioned train happily going down the tracks. Why? Because they didn't bother to ask the people that knew what they were doing how they did their job.
And if that's one story, though, because if you watch Thomas the Tank Engine, you'll know the diesel engines normally aren't as kind as the steam engines,
yes,
as we've learned.
It's true. Tommy Tank had the same problem. But it's the thing, isn't it? We need to know where we've come from. And just because it's technologically advanced doesn't make it better or more capable. AI, I'm sorry, I know it's clever. It's not going to change the world like you think it would. Do you know why? Because diesel locos didn't either. When they came in, they were stuck.
Although
Couldn't move.
I've actually heard of a story, though. It was of this dome somewhere in Rome and somewhere in Italy. I think it's Rome, the city. I think it was in large dome. It's like the largest one in the world, but it was made 2,000 years ago, and no one today is able to make a building without pillars of a dome. No one can make one as large as they made 2,000 years ago.
It is impressive what they used to be able to do, but we would struggle to do today.
I think, isn't it, some of the sewage works in the UK are still from the Romans, actually, aren't they?
I'm fairly confident that some of the piping used for water is Victorian in the UK, which is why I read a report years ago. I'd like to think this isn't true any longer, but something like half the water disappears into the bottom of Great Britain. So there's so many leaking pipes, about half of it leaks.
That's quite a lot. Although,
it was true at the time. I don't know how true that is today.
Although the scary thing is, though, so we lose half of the water that we produce, as it were.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
According to the report I read by a water company.
Okay.
We're losing half the water. Sorry about that.
But we're losing half of it, and yet in the UK we still have enough, which tells you how wet it is in the UK.
Yes. I love this story. Somebody was driving, picked these people up at London, they drove across into Wales. And these folks from America were like, wow, it's so green over here. I forgot what part of America they were from, but they just weren't used to that much luscious green. Yeah, there were trees and stuff. But they're like, wow, it's so green. Like the grass and the trees, it's unbelievably green and lush with all this stuff. But it's never raining. How can you possibly have it so green? And they just said to them, Well, it's not raining now. It was this morning, and it probably will this afternoon, and mostly through the night, and probably into tomorrow. It's just that at this precise moment in the car, it's not raining, and then they realise the roads were wet.
Mm.
But it's funny, isn't it? Perception.
Yes, that is.
I don't think that qualifies as a tangent.
Well, I think
Because we actually went from one set of thoughts to another. I think we've cured your issue of tangenting us.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, but
No?
I think we should actually. We have technically gone on a bit of a tangent because we've gone from.
How many thank yous are we? We're not even finished the thank yous yet.
I think you've done 2 thank yous. I've done 1 thank you.
Dan Bellamy's done one.
Oh yes, yes.
How many have we done now?
You've done 2. I've done 1.
So we've done 50%. You've done your 33%, and I've done my 66%.
Yeah.
And 50% overall. Because 33 and 66 makes 50% every day of the week, apparently.
Yes, that is.
Is that why you brought a calculator?
Yes, although unfortunately it's not that complex to calculate it. It's very basic kind of mathematics.
Okay.
So probably couldn't actually do that. But my second thank you, which I am thankful for, I would say windows allowing air and being able to open windows to let in air, cool air, especially when it's hot.
I have slept in a couple of hotel rooms lately in the last few weeks, and both of them have little chains to stop you opening the windows too far for your security. Otherwise known as how to make you baking hot.
Yes.
Because Nathan and I on Monday night were so hot in the room. We're just lying in the bed, sweating, thinking, I just want to open the window. We made sure that the heating was off. It wasn't on when we arrived. And you couldn't open the window more than about 2 inches. And they wonder why people snap the cables. I'm not suggesting that because that's not good. But you can understand the logic behind that when you just want to open the window so you can breathe without dying from sweat.
Yes.
But that
would be
in no way
preferable.
constitutes endorsing the idea of damaging people's property.
No.
But I do think it would be better if they could have the windows open.
Yeah, I don't see much point in why they'd want to restrict that. I mean, if you've got a hotel,
It's for your safety.
but if you've got a hotel with a balcony and a door which opens onto the balcony, you're not going to put a chain on the door to stop it from opening. That would just that would be stupid, wouldn't it? Because then you couldn't go onto the balcony. So
I would not be surprised to see that, if I'm honest.
yes, actually,
I think that could quite happen.
I could. If someone said that happened, I'd probably believe it.
Right, so I've done 2, you've done 2.
Yes.
So 66% of yours, 66% of mine, 50% of ours.
No, it'd be over 50% now.
How much then? What's 4/6?
4/6.
If 2/3 is 66%, what's 4/6?
Well, no, we've both done our 50%. So
Calculator.
we've done 2/3 basically.
So
we've done 2/3.
6 divided by 4 is 1.5. So if we both, that doesn't help. So if we've done
Well, no, we've done 66
4
points.
divided by 6 times by 100, isn't it? 66.6%. So apparently we've done 6%. Andy Brown, what is 4/6, please, as a percentage?
I'm pretty sure we've done 2/3. No, yeah, 2/3, isn't it?
I don't know how you do percentages. 4/6 as a percent.
4/6.
I don't know how it is. So what is it? No, that's not right. So
We've done, I think we've done 66.66%.
what is 4 over 6
doing maths here
as
again.
a percent?
I brought the calculator, but I didn't bring a very complex calculator.
No,
So we're looking it up.
4/6 as a percentage. It's 66%.
That's what I said.
So 2/3 and 4/6 is equal in percentage.
So moving on from maths, shall we? I think. On to your third thank you, which would get us onto a
Not
higher
a
number.
third of something, which would be 33%, but my third actual item, which takes me from 66 to 100.
So we're doing your thank you next. We're going higher up on the percentage, whatever that
What am I
might be.
thankful for? I am thankful for fans.
Yes, that is a
Right
good
now,
one.
we've got a fan at the bottom on the floor, which is on our legs. Andy Brown's just come in, mathematical man that he is. Yes, 2/3 is the same as 4/6, both equal to 66.6%.
That's what I said. Although, the thing is, though, it'd be 66.666 occurring.
Recurring.
Recurring, yeah. So you'd actually end, I suppose you'd say 66.67, because you'd round it up.
You don't need AI. You don't need to call Alexa. You just need to say, Andy Brown, what is 4/6 as a percentage. It's
Yeah.
better than AI
Yeah, it's the new,
because he comes back with a smile and helps.
it's the new smart speaker. Even
Although he
better
hasn't
service.
helped me now because he says Peter's correct. That's a bit of a worrying trend.
I can be correct, you know. It is possible.
Yes,
So, on to my thank you, which would be 100%.
of yours and mine, which should be
Both of us.
200%, but it's not.
No, 'cause that wouldn't be possible with
No.
maths.
Since when is two 100% 100%?
Well,
Because if you have two of something and you multiply them, you multiply them by each other. 2 times 1 is 2, add the zeros is 200%.
technically, though, the way you're saying it would be my 50%. I'd have 100% of my 50%.
Yes, so your 100% is our 50%. So our 200% makes 50% of 100%, which makes no sense whatsoever. Anybody else following the maths on this?
Not really.
Maths is broken, everybody.
Mhm.
Anyway, what's your third thing you're thankful for?
Okay, third thing, that's a bit of a tongue twister. That third
Yes,
thing
I
I'm
just thought that.
thankful
As I said
for-
it correctly, I was rather glad.
Yeah, the third thing that I am thankful for. Can't say it now.
Andy says, it makes perfect sense.
I'm not sure.
How do two 100s make 100?
Well, no, because it's not two 100s. It's, well, technically, I
Yeah,
have,
but it is. Because you've got 100% of your answers. I've got 100% of my answers, which means that together, collectively, we have 100% of our answers. But shouldn't 2 times 100 be 200?
Well, no,
So shouldn't we have 200% of our answers?
well, no, you can't technically exceed 100%. And so,
The Vulcan could.
no, but, well, technically, you can exceed 100% because you could, so the price of something could go up.
The Vulcan
200%.
bomber flown by the RAF used to be able to fly at more than 100%. It didn't have an afterburner like
Okay.
Concorde did, although it's the same engine, the Olympus from Rolls-Royce. Bit of
Oh.
geeky plane knowledge. However, it could go more than 100%, but not for very long.
Okay. Although, okay. Although I'm almost thinking, though, if it can go above 100%, surely then it's 100% is above 100%.
So Andy says, Peter has 100% of the oranges. You have 100% of the apples. Together you have 100% of the fruit. Yes, but we don't, Andy, because you've forgotten to include melons and grapes. So whoever has them also has some of the fruit. So therefore it can't be 100% of the fruit, unless the only fruit in existence is oranges and apples owned by you and me. And then it becomes a fun conundrum of mathematical stuff.
Okay, so I suppose there's a box of. I think we're getting in this circle of mathematics. I'm not sure if we're gonna
You're the
get-
one that brought the calculator, is all I'm going to say, so it's all your fault.
I brought the calculator to help us. I didn't realise it would make things worse.
Yeah.
Actually, going back to where we last were, which is your thank you of fans, I think I might say I'm thankful for fans as well, but specifically the one in my room, which is a really old one, but I like it, even though it's the loudest in the house, because it's a really sturdy metal fan, which has lasted before I was born, like 20 years it's been around, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's-
actually. It's older than you.
Like, I like it because it's old, simple, and it's always worked. I mean, it's a bit loud, but I kind of like that. You know, it's character. That's what it is.
It's character building.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe was given it by someone. It's like, we don't want it in our office, and she was gifted it by the director of the company she was working for. You can have it. We don't want it. It's going to go in the tip. It's silly. It's brilliant. You have it. So we have it, and it's brilliant.
Yes, it is brilliant.
Yes. Now, Andy said exactly 100% of what exactly the Vulcan bomber has a maximum speed of 100%, but it can exceed that because it's not 100%. It's 100% of the safe maximum speed. You can push it beyond the safe maximum speed. So therefore, you can push the ownership of fruit beyond the safe maximum ownership of 100%.
Sorry about that, Andy
Is
Brown.
what he means.
I'm not sure that's quite what he meant. I think way to look at it, it's like you got a box
Oh.
of apples.
And then you have a bowl of salad. You know, like a fruit salad or something, and then
Fruit
it gets
salad.
really complicated. And then you have sweets which are made of fruits which aren't, like the fruit salad sweet from yesteryear.
Do we want to move on to new studies or something?
If
'Cause-
Peter eats one orange, he still has 100% of the oranges.
Oh yes,
Well, he
that
won't
makes
within
sense.
24 hours, will he? Because some of that orange will not belong to him anymore. It'll belong to the sewage system.
I'm not sure that's quite the path we're trying
I'm
to take.
just saying.
I think I think we should move on from mathematics. I think
Do you now?
yes, I think we should move.
Andy Brown is
somewhere
typing.
different. I don't know how to respond
Unless
to
you
that.
include the wee, which I'm assuming he didn't eat.
I-
I think he meant peel.
The peel.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about toilets. I misread what Andy said. Unless you include the peel, which I assume he didn't eat. Well, you wouldn't want to eat the peel of an orange, would you? Because you'd probably be sick.
Mm. I'm not sure where we're going is very very much the way we want to go. I mean, we were talking about Victorian
It's
sewage
an interesting
systems.
typo from Andy Brown there.
Mm,
Talking about, things that go to the toilet. He's talking about pee.
mm,
E-E.
yes.
What on earth are we doing? Are we on radio? Where are we?
Well, for a moment we were going to the sewage system. Are we ready for some
We always
stories?
end up at the gutter. And I don't know how you do that. It's impressive that you do it every single time. Right, we've done 3 things each that we are thankful for, have we
Yes.
not?
We've done 3 things each. Where
100%. You've given 100% of your answers. I've given 100% of my answers, which means we've given 100% of our answers.
No, but collectively, if you put us two together,
That's
without
200%.
no,
100 and 100 is 200.
no, but 100,
Andy said, glad he could help. Yes. Well, maybe. Right. Wait. Where on earth are we doing? Right. Have you got some new studies? Because we should probably move on to that.
yes, I think we should. So I have found some new studies.
Let's get off maths.
Okay, so I've got new studies. Do you want to choose out of these 3 new
Is
studies?
there one with planes in it?
Not this time around, I'm afraid. No planes.
Cars?
Cars.
Motorbikes?
No bikes. No.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what your choices are, though?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care now.
So, new study finds almost all of us experienced rudeness at work. So, not exactly a new study.
Not at Pure247
No,
Radio, you
no.
wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause we're pure.
Yes. New study finds
Not
exactly.
perfect, just pure.
New,
Intentionally pure.
yeah. The new study finds exactly when the weekend feeling finishes, and
Ooh. Go on. What's the last
oh,
one?
okay. So it's basically,
No. What's the next one?
the next one.
That may be the one I want.
and the next one. New study finds onion juice may boost hair growth by 20%.
Are you washing your hair in it to make yourself cry? I wouldn't use onions in the shower. Let's go there, shall we?
Okay. See,
Onion juice.
it was a close call. This was number 1. So this one is onion juice. So obviously, you think of onions, you think chopping it and crying. Because
I think of crying a lot with onions,
yes,
especially because I can't actually eat onions anymore.
mm,
I
uh,
like them, they don't like me.
I can't make up my mind on onions, to be honest. I always kind of think they could be really sour and not very tasty, but they can be all right.
I miss onions. I miss garlic. I miss ginger. I miss black pepper. It's all gone.
Although, did you know paprika is actually from pepper?
Yes.
I told you something you already knew. That's not very exciting.
Thing is, I know an awful lot.
Mm.
I remember sometimes pieces of it, and I'm full of useless stuff that nobody ever needs to ever know again.
Okay,
And
so
most people probably wouldn't care that you can actually exceed the engines on a Vulcan's Olympus engine. Even though it's the same basic engine as the Concorde, which did have an afterburner, but the Vulcan didn't. Most people wouldn't care to know that, but I have that knowledge in my head.
no, but I'm sure it will come in useful someday, like when doing radio.
There you
And
are, you
having
see.
stuff to talk about. So, this story is basically saying that onion juice. So I suppose the juice from an onion, normally the stuff that makes
How
you
do you
cry.
milk an onion?
Well, I think it's more like apple juice. You know, getting you would. I don't actually know how you do that, but
You
orange.
squeeze it, don't you?
Well, that's what you do with an orange.
Puree?
I'm not. I think they got machines. for
Squeeze it,
apples.
strain it.
With an orange, though, you just kind of squeeze it. You get the juice out.
Yeah.
But basically,
I
somehow.
wonder if you can get an onion and stick it on a lemon zester. Would that work? I don't think that would do much.
I'm not
Apart from
sure.
make a mess. You'd have onions pinging off everywhere.
Well, okay. Well, basically,
Step 1: discover how to make the juice of an onion appear.
once you've got this, like Andy says, once you've got step 1 of getting the onion juice, apparently it's good for your hair growth. So I suppose it's more for men. It's good for stopping receding hair, and it's also good for making it thicker and grow better. I suppose.
I think this is one for Richard.
Yes, I think it is.
I think he'll like this one.
Yes. So it's to do with, well, basically helping your hair. I'm guessing particularly for men, but also for women as well. And basically, it speeds up the process of hair growing, apparently by 20%. Again, we're going on to percentages and maths. Now, there's a lot of complex names which I'm thinking Dr. Scott would know how to pronounce. I personally am going to struggle, but there's lots of good things in onions, including vitamin C, which I didn't know.
I wouldn't have assumed that.
Vitamin C, but here's the thing, phenolic acids is also in it, which apparently is something good. So yeah, it's very good, and there's lots of different things. It helps. It's got what is it? It's got cysteine sulfoxides. It's a bunch,
Sulfides?
Well, no, it's got an X in it, or is that a silent X?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure. There's a bunch of words I can't pronounce, technical ones.
Antioxidant, that one.
Yes, and something with an
Oxidative.
like a sulf oxid.
Antibacterial.
I don't know. A bunch of complex words that Dr. Scott would probably
I can't
understand
see any
better.
words that. Cysteine sulfoxides.
Oh,
There we
okay,
are.
yes.
Richard will know what on earth you're talking about.
Well,
Well, we hope he does.
well, yes. I'm not really sure what that is. Apparently, that's good for you, and especially good for the hair. But yeah, apparently, onion juice is good for people. But here's the thing: I was assuming like you drank the onion juice, which would be a bit sour, and you'd want to brush your teeth afterwards. But no, putting it on as a sort of like hair gel.
A topical application.
Yes. So a bunch of people they got at doing this, where they put onion juice on their hair. Now, first of all, I'm thinking that's going to trickle down into your eye, and you're
Did
going to be
these
hurt
people
too.
stop losing their hair because they took better care of their hair because they didn't want to ever have onion in their eyes ever again?
Mm,
Not that I
possibly.
think you can really care for your head particularly well to prevent hair loss, because if you're going to have hair loss, you're kind of going to have hair loss.
Kind of a genetic thing. You can't really avoid it.
It's just life.
But yeah, apparently it can help with hair. I'm guessing for men and women. But yeah, it increases hair density and stuff by 15%. And yeah, but so it sounds quite good. But all the things though, onions. Let's be honest, they do smell quite a lot. It's a very strong smell.
It's a very discreet way of putting it.
Yes, and so I'm not sure if you really want to walk around smelling like onions or onion juice.
See, that's the other thing. You'd want to wash your hair afterwards, which might undo any good that you have. I don't know how true that is. We'll put that to Dr. Scott,
Yes. So a new
who's
study.
not a GP for much longer.
So that is a new study for you there. Now, do you want another new study or do you want a fun story?
I like fun stories.
Fun stories. Okay. This one.
We got 2 minutes, by the way, just to warn you.
I've got two stories. Got one about two bears escaping, and one where there is a surgery that can make you taller. Which one do you want?
Let's do the bears.
The bears. Yes.
I think we've had enough medical stuff.
Yeah. That's okay. So this is quite a fun story from Devon, actually. Two bears.
We like Devon.
Yes.
Beautiful land.
Two bears escaped from a Devon zoo. So they escaped.
Was it the Benjamin Mee Zoo?
I don't know about that. It just
That one
says
in London. That's in Devon, isn't it?
I think so. It's like the Devon Wildlife Park, somewhere down there. So
Right.
probably something like that. And these two bears escaped and apparently did a Winnie the Pooh style of getting some honey. They started nicking a
What
lot.
sort of bears were they?
Didn't quite catch what kind of bears they were. What kind of bears were they? I'm just trying to find out. I don't think they're like American brown bear or something like that, or a grizzly bear. I'm trying to see what kind of type of bear they were. Try to find it. What kind of bears were they? I can't quite remember actually. But basically, two bears escaped. Now very much liked by the public because they escaped. But apparently they weren't doing that much harm. But yeah, they apparently nicked a lot of honey. So no huge harm done. But the police were responsive in making sure that nothing
I
happened.
imagine the police were very responsive because if you were happily sitting in your garden and two brown bears come along, I think you would be slightly terrified.
Yeah, and probably wondering, am I in the UK? What country am I in at this moment?
No, you are. This is in Devon,
And these
Wildwood, Devon. They
yes,
escaped on the 23rd of June.
Okay, so
Mish and Lucy, who are both 5 years old, who posed no threat to the public at any point, apparently.
yes, that is a good thing.
I don't know how many public people would have thought, hey, it's all right, it's just a bear. Oh, I'm fine. That's probably not the first thought. It's probably, oh no.
There's a bear, or like, how did it get to
They
this
got
country?
recovered, nobody was hurt, which is important.
Yes, that is
So
important.
that's really good. It happens. These things do happen. We got 20 seconds, Peter.
Okay. Well, I had lots of fun today. I had some of your tangents again, and trying to help you with mathematics. I think I
Yeah,
got it.
it's probably
sus.
easier to help with tangents than for me to keep you going off on tangents. But that's fine. Right, we've got one more song this hour. I'll be back after the 5 o'clock news. Thank you for joining me, Peter.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed myself.
And we're now going to go to the news. And thank you for now. And thank you to you if you're listening on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back on Sunday for more live streaming stuff with Jojo and myself. But for now, you can go back to the radio and listen to us there.